morning friends, hope you all are well. Today I am going to discuss about sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Production of new plant due to the involvement of sex cells or gametes is called sexual reproduction in flowering plants. The whole process occurs in 3 stages that can be termed as P, F, G for easy learning. P for pollination, F for fertilization, and G for germination of seed. In my previous video, I have already discussed about different parts of flower along with the reproductive organs with stamen and pistil. So I am not discussing them now. The first stage is pollination. Transfer of pollen grains. These are the pollen grains. I have shown here. These are pollen grains. Transfer of pollen grain from anther. This is the anther of the stamen to the stigma. This is the stigma to the stigma of the pistil. The whole part is the pistil. Is called pollination. It occurs with the help of different agents. These are wind, water, insects, birds and animals. Pollination is of 2 types, self-pollination and cross-pollination. What is self-pollination? Transfer of pollen grains. This is the black dot. This is the pollen grain and this portion is the anther. From anther to the stigma. This part is the stigma. So transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma of same flower. This is the flower or another flower of same plant is called self-pollination. On the other hand, transfer of pollen grain from anther of the stamen to the stigma of the pistil of other plant but of same kind is called cross-pollination. The second stage is fertilization. Do you have any idea about fertilization? Fusion of male gamete with female gamete is called fertilization. When pollen grains fall on the stigma, this is the stigma, this part is the stigma and this is the pollen grain. When the pollen grain falls on the stigma during pollination, then it forms pollen tube. This is the pollen tube and this pollen tube moves down towards ovary. This part is the ovary through style. This is the style, through style, and it carries 2 male gametes that were present in the pollen grain. And ultimately what happens? It enters inside the embryo sac. This is the embryo sac. This pink colored part is the embryo sac with the help of an opening. And what we call this opening? This is known as micropyle. Understand, I hope? Now, embryo sac already has 8 nuclei. 4 on the upper end. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 at the lower end. 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are known as polar nuclei. Now, one of the nuclei of the upper one, this is the black spot. This is known as egg. Now, when the pollen tube enters inside the embryo sac, then its tip bursts and these 2 male gametes, this one and this one, they burst and these 2 male gametes are released inside the embryo sac. After that what happens? One of the male gamete, this is fuses with the female gamete or egg and this is known as syngamy. Whereas what happens with the other nuclei? Sorry, what happens with the other male gamete? The other male gamete fuses with 2 more nuclei, one from the upper end and another from the lower end, and these 3 nuclei fuse together and this is known as triple fusion. Understand? Now, the product of syngamy, that is this one. This is the zygote. On the other hand, the product of triple fusion is the endosperm nucleus. What happens with this zygote? Zygote ultimately changes into embryo, whereas endosperm nucleus ultimately changes into endosperm. That is the food storage tissue of the seed. Both zygote plus endosperm, that is embryo plus endosperm, both of them together form the seed. And after fertilization, what happens, this ovary, this changes into fruit, and this part, that is the ovule, changes into seed. And the remaining nuclei that were present earlier, they also disappear. Inside the embryo sac, fusion occurs twice, that is syngamy and triple fusion. That's why this type of fertilization is known as double fertilization. The last stage is germination of seed. What is germination? Development of seed into seedling is called germination. On getting suitable amount of temperature, water, sunlight and warmth, the seeds germinate to form a new plant. I hope you have understood the topic. If you like my video, please like, share and subscribe. Thank you and have a nice day.